it's Khristina from Redefine Creative, and I am back with another project for SpiegelMom Scraps. And I am still working on this idea of combining elements from several different collections together in order to create a cohesive look. And I had some viewers ask about kind of how I go about pulling things out and what types of things I pull from different collections to make a project like this. So I wanted to start out live here and kind of walk you through a little bit of what that process looks like, and then we'll go ahead and put you on fast forward. So basically, I always start with the photo and the story that I want to tell. So this was the photo that I wanted to work with today, and it's from a recent staycation that my kids and I took. And the restaurant that they have there has these little like individual campfires that go in the middle of the table, and then they bring you all these s'more goodies. So you can roast s'mores at your table. So I wanted to create a layout talking about that. And so where it started from is I knew that I had this gorgeous paper from Paige Evans. This is number 6 in the Fancy Free. And so I loved the phrases, and then I also love all of the details here. And so this piece became kind of what I was pulling products to go with. So I thought this worked perfect with my photo, and so this is kind of where I started. So I knew that I had this charcoal color, some wood grain, some whitish kind of marble, and then this pink. I also really liked those phrases, but because my photo is smaller, I pulled out the 6x6. So I have some of these that I can cut out and work with. And then I also found this paper from one of my just 12x12 paper pads that matches really well with the grays, and I kind of liked this little whimsical feather, so that became something I pulled out. And then I went through and went to a few different collections to find elements that would work. So everything I kind of referenced back to this Paige Evans paper. So I pulled a bunch of goodies, and this is from, here we go. This is a Maggie Holmes collection, and this is Gather. So I pulled out just a few things that would work. So the sticker sheets, I knew that it had some of the colors that I wanted, some of the phrase stickers, so I just grabbed that and pulled that out. I wanted this wood grain to kind of match with the wood grain in the other paper so that I would have some extra wood grain detail. This is just a scrap, something that I've already used. I really liked the idea of putting some tickets in. I didn't know if I wanted the bigger scale or the smaller scale, so I just grabbed them both. And then I grabbed a couple of sheets of paper from the 6x6 paper pad that worked with my colors. And then a few pieces of ephemera when I just flipped through the ephemera pack that I thought might work with what I was going to create. So the reason that I pull out just a few things like this and I kind of match up the colors is to make the process a little bit faster and a little bit easier. So I'm somebody who has a huge stash, and it gets very overwhelming. So if I pull out just a collection like this, it's still a lot of products to work with, a lot of different things I could do with it, but it really limits my choices. And then I have everything right here within reach, and I'm not going and searching for things. All right, so this one is from Maggie Holmes Bloom. Same thing, I knew this had some of the color elements in it that I might want to include, some little tags and things that were the right colors. And then I just grabbed a couple of scraps from the 6x6 paper pad. Same thing, just looking for colors that kind of worked with this big pattern that I started with. I also grabbed the Fancy Free ephemera pack. This is called Wild Heart, and this is the chipboard. And the reason I pulled this one out is because I liked this awesome right here, and this heart that kind of matches, and then this one that says note to self. So there were a few elements that might work. Rather than going through and cutting this apart and pulling out individual things, I just grab that pack and leave it sitting out here. The other collection I found was some of my Heidi Swapp memory planner stuff. And so I went through this 6x8 paper pad and pulled out just 4 sheets that really went well with the color scheme and the feel that I was trying to create with this layout. So I pulled those. And then I also pulled a few packs of puffy stickers. The colors themselves do not go with the kit, but there are some that do. So I have a few of these little pink elements in here. This has the watercolor look, which is a perfect match. But it also has a bunch of these little tiny puffy stickers in black. And if you've been watching my videos, you know that I love to add little pops of black. This layout is perfect for that because it does have this dark charcoal, and so I've pulled out some paper and some little elements, keeping in mind that I really like that pop of black. And I did even pull some of that out from this collection as well. So I really do kind of keep that in mind as I'm pulling stuff together. I grabbed some Metropolitan Girl enamel dots from Cartabella. They had this dark color and then the pink that might work. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see if it gets on the page. And then I pulled this Me and My Big Ideas washi tape book, only because it had the black and whites, but it also has this really great gray color of washi in it. So we're going to see if that gets included as well. I also had this little baggie of buttons left over from an old For the Love of Homemade kits. The colors were perfect, so I just threw that in here. And then I went ahead and went through, I have a couple of big boxes that have all of my SpiegelMom Scraps stuff in them, so I went through those. I grabbed some of the 8-inch doilies and some of the 4-inch doilies. And then I thought the white felt and the cork, one or the other, would go really well with this. I needed something else to bring in that wood grain and the brown. So I have the Cork Confetti hearts, the Felt Fetty white hearts, and then the Cork U Hearts, and Love You Tons. So the white felt and the cork, both for those. And then I also grabbed just a few packs of sequins that may or may not work. So I have that gunmetal gray because I do have those black and gray elements. I've got Coffee Break, Mocha Mint, and Pinkie Pie. And so that's kind of what I've pulled out with to pull from. I keep all my mixed media stuff and I keep my letter stickers right by my desk. So I always have access to those. So I usually don't pull those out in the beginning. But this is going to give me a really good base of stuff to work with. And so I'm going to go ahead and put you on fast forward and we'll see how the layout comes together. Okay, so I am starting with a white piece of 12 by 12 cardstock for my background. And I am taking this Color Theory Clean Slate ink and I am using that all around the edges. And last week in my Wednesday video, we talked about using ink as a way to coordinate and kind of bring things from different collections together. And so I'm using that technique again today. And I knew that I wanted a strip of that pink paisley Take Me Away paper. And I didn't want the entire like V section. So I wanted half of it and then half of the next one. So it creates kind of a wonky arrow pointing down because that's where my photo is going to go. So rather than it being two equal sections, I wanted one larger section and then that smaller section. And then I went ahead and added two more pattern paper strips. One is just the wood grain for Maggie Holmes, and then one is that kind of funky leaf. And now what I'm doing is kind of working on how am I going to layer all these pattern papers together behind my photo, because I wanted the photo to have lots of mats. And so I pulled a little bit of everything and inked all around the edges again. And then I'm going to grab these two different tags, and I'm just looking for the second tag. And those are going to go on that top left-hand corner of my photo. So those are going to be stacked there, and then it's balanced out with one of those 4-inch doilies on the right-hand side. And then I'm also going to carry that doily element up into the top of the layout in that right-hand corner. So now I am grabbing those pieces of ephemera that I have stashed off here that I've pulled out of my stash. So I'm not going back to my stash. I'm using those kit materials that I pulled out for this layout. And as I find something or a sticker or something that I know I want to use, I go ahead and ink the edges like you see right now and kind of place it where I want it to go. And then I'm grabbing some of this gray plus sign washi tape, and so I put it up in that top right hand corner, but I want that same element to carry over into my photo mats. So I'm going to add just a tiny piece of it to that little piece of ephemera that says remember this. And then I grab one of those pink puffy stickers just that says favorite, and I'm adding those in different spots in the layers behind my photo. So my photo has 6 different layers of matting, and you'll see that in the close-up photos. So I'm putting my pieces of ephemera into different layers within those, so it kind of looks like it's all grouped together in different spots. And then I went ahead and added those Cork Hearts, and these are from SpiegelMom Scraps. So there's 2 different packs, Cork Confetti and Cork U Hearts. And I'm adding those throughout the layout, and those were perfect to tie in this wood grain and the brown elements that were in my photo as well as in that pattern paper. So there wasn't a lot of brown in other places, but the cork, having the cork in all of my design elements and all of my embellishment clusters really tied everything together. So I really liked how that looked. I did add that heart that matched the pattern paper to that cluster up in the right hand corner, and that's just from the Chipboard Shapes sticker sheet, and that was perfect to kind of draw that pattern across the page. So then I'm grabbing some buttons from this little baggie of buttons that I had already pulled out of my stash, and these are old. Some of them are from Making Memories, which was, oh my goodness, forever ago. And I'm clustering those, so I'm going to have one cluster around my photo and one cluster up in that top right. And I really just like to balance things that way. And then I went ahead and added my title down at the bottom, which just says Sweet Treat. And those are some Amy Tan transparent letters down on the bottom, the square ones. And then I went ahead and added my sequins. So I used my gunmetal gray, which is kind of my go-to sequin. It's that dark grayish black, and it goes with everything. And then I also added some coffee break. So I really hope you enjoyed what I did with this layout and all the different collections. I think there were like 5 collections that we combined together in this one layout. And I hope you'll join me again soon. Bye.